past, the Humane Society of Parkersburg is reminding pet owners to exercise caution. According to Humane Officer Cassie Wright, dogs cannot handle the cold better than we do. Aside from breeds like Huskies and Malamutes, a dog's fur coat does little to keep them warm. If owners are unable to bring their pets inside, they can set up a shelter with lots of bedding. Avoid fabrics and use straw or pine bedding for them to burrow into. Cassie says it's important to remain vigilant about your pet's safety and well-being.
Preparing ahead of time is going to be the best choice, the best course of action to make sure that they are the safest during inclement weather like this. And we owe that to them as our pets. They can't speak for themselves, so we just really have to do everything we can to make sure that they're taken care of.
Pet owners can also reach out to friends or neighbors and ask if they can keep your pets in places like their garage, basement, or a bathroom. Still ahead, a state of emergency